Hello, my friends. How are you doing? My name is Lauren, and today I've got page 12 of my nail stamping art portfolio. A couple of cool stories, but overall just some nice manicures. So let's just go take a look.
Yeah, and we're back with another page out of my portfolio. Yeah, so let's just go through these. You know the drill. This is just a cool looking set with those Join Us plates, and they had some really cool images of the eyes and stuff. Kind of remind me of some wood cuttings, and anyway, nothing meaningful about these, but I just thought it was a cool looking pattern. Doesn't this kind of remind you of like The Great Gatsby or something? Maybe it's just me. I like the eye on the snail though, that's pretty sweet. This is with that Tomy plate. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Is it Tommy or Tomy? I really don't know. I've never read it. I guess it's like a manga or a graphic novel, and I'm not sure what it's about. People have told me that I would like it maybe, but I never checked it out. So let me know if you think it's worth my time. But yeah, not knowing anything about it, I just decided to use the plates, and in my mind I was picturing like a crime drama. Like, here's our fearless detective here investigating a murder that's loose in the city, and I just thought it looked cool, like film noir or film red noir. But yeah, I really like how those turned out. I think they're pretty like graphic and stunning. Same plate, and I was just sort of continuing on with my little story, and in this one I was imagining our villain here is sort of like she's got this mask that she can peel off, and she's gone underneath this boardwalk in the water. I use this crackle polish here to make this look like sort of wood pylons, and she's in this creepy dark water underneath there. It's so creepy. I don't know what that says, but I just thought it needed something. I guess these are probably ugly. I was just doing like a 3D thing using some chrome, so I was just sort of playing around with some kind of product here that I can't recall. Maybe it was just regular gel, I don't know, but just making it kind of blobby around here, and then adding the chrome to it. And I just tried to make it look like agate. I think that's right. There's a type of, I think it's like Great Lakes or Michigan agate or something like that. So that's kind of what I was going for. I know that like this weird blobby like 3D thing is very in style right now, but I guess I don't really like it, but I just had to try it. This was for a collab, the mood board collab, and the mood board was like an Alice in Wonderland thing. It looked a lot better in my head than how it turned out. I think they turned out like pretty cartoony, but I really especially like the swirly part. I like the glitter sort of underneath. I don't know, it looks pretty cool, and I use this little 3D element there for no real reason. So I don't know, I guess I was a little disappointed in myself and how they turned out, but they're also still pretty cute. And they, yeah, I definitely followed the prompt. I made these with like this weird jelly polish that's called like smoothie texture, like whatever that means. And yeah, there's nothing about this. I used that really fabulous Glitter Fingers plate to make these like crystal roses there, and just a lot of nice colors and things going on, but no significance to it. But I thought it was really pretty, and using different color outlines and ombre, this swirling texture in the background. So I think they look pretty nice. This was a PR set, so I was just sort of illustrating how to use these plates. I think this was MXM, right? Like a Y2K one. So yeah, this was actually pretty high effort. It doesn't really look like it, I guess, but like I went in and individually did like all those little dots and whatever. I don't know, they look okay. I think they're on the website, but yeah, cute. Yeah, same, definitely from MXM. Yeah, I remember now. Same thing here. Trying to just showcase this pattern, and I stamped this pattern, which is the same as this one. Stamped it here, but then I took something round, like maybe a pencil or something, and I just took out the center of it and then added that little cherry bomb. So I think this came out pretty cool. And I like the silver shimmer, it's just kind of nice little pop of shine right there. These are definitely a mood. I don't think there was any real reason for it. I don't think there was anything really going through my mind. These are older, so yeah, who knows. But I did this really crazy background where I was just layering up these patterns like over and over and over again. And then I had negative space, so those patterns became this little king's sort of ribbed clothing there. I guess I'm interpreting that correctly. but I just thought it would look cool to have this giant woman like pinching this little king. And I don't know, I guess it's like a girl power kind of manicure. Um, yeah, this is before I ever had the idea to like start shading anything, especially faces. But yeah, I have a manicure on maybe the next page that is sort of similar to this, but well, I'll get to that when I get to that. Yeah. I did this manicure using this plate because the images were so blobby. Sometimes when a plate annoys me, I end up using it like a lot just to sort of like justify it. I don't know. So this is one of those plates that I had bought off AliExpress, and the images are very cute, but they didn't scale down very well, and so the pickups are pretty muddy. Like just the lines are really close together. Who knows, maybe a lighter colored outline might be better, but I just wanted to do them despite that. And I don't know, I mean, you can still tell what they are, and I think they look pretty cute. I'm happy with it. I think this might have been for GNC, but I'm not sure. I like the ombre on it. I think I think I just had never done any like gnome manicures. So yeah, not too much to say about this. They're kind of just floating in the air, which one way I kind of like to counteract that, because I just don't like when things are floating by themselves. So I'll just sort of anchor it with another element just to kind of fill up that space. So kind of just did a little balance of them there. And there's not much else to say about that. I believe these were for a collab too, although I can't tell you what it was. I don't remember. I also used this plate because they were really blobby, and the way I worked around that was to double stamp. So I put the white first and then stamped on top with my black outline. And the other thing that I did with this was I wanted her to be swinging from the moon, and so I added this moon image from one of the old Maniology plates. I think it's 052. It's one of the old MXM ones, I believe, the old like kind of geometric ones from, I want to say it was like 2019. Anyway, yeah, so I think they look pretty cute. It was very unlike me at the time, and so I was really self-conscious about them. But they're cute. I did these for one of my very first YouTube videos ever, so I think it's back there still. I think it's still up way back, and I was just showing how to do this like weird manicure about these grapes, and I was really reminded about one time when I was hitchhiking out in California and came across some wine country over there, and it's just really beautiful kind of area. I'm from the East Coast, and so California has always been very exotic to me. So every time I see anything over in California, I'm just like, wow. So yeah, I actually don't even like wine. It's even when I did drink, I'm just not into wine, but boy, it sure is a beautiful setting, all those vineyards and everything. And this is kind of abstracted, but I was sort of going for like the vines and stuff. So a little weird because you can't really see what's going on there, but that was kind of the point. I guess you can learn more, and if you watch that video, maybe it'll be more clear. Maybe I'm totally misremembering what I did here, but yeah, that was one of my very first YouTubes ever. This I did for some kind of contest. One user online, I can't remember who it was. I know it was either one of two people I'm thinking of, but at the risk of saying the wrong thing, I'm just gonna say it was somebody. But they were challenging people to recreate one of their manicures, and I recreated this one as exactly as I could, and I do believe I won this competition. I get the feeling this was just for fun. Sometimes I get a new polish and I just have to use it right away, and so I'll put it down as a base and then kind of figure out what I'm doing from there. So yeah, it's very warm colors here for my bees, and that's yeah, that's about it for this. They look pretty punky. Speaking of bees, yeah, this was for another MXM box that had like flowers and bumblebees, honeybees, whatever. And my first thought when I saw that box was just this like really classy, like luxurious black and gold. And so that's what I did. And it's hard for me to do these because it's just, you basically just stamp one thing, and I don't know, I'm always kind of uncomfortable with it because it just seems too easy, right? But no, they looks nice. Sometimes the easy thing is the right thing, just because it's, if you're going for classy, you know, you can't really complicate it too much, right? I guess I was just interested in those short nails at the time. It's easier to fill them out, that's for sure. But yeah, this was just another like I think I was emboldened by my minimalist color choices here, and so I did another sort of, this is only 3 colors, white, yellow, and black. So unusual for me, I guess, but no significance of this. I think it might have been vaguely PR. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I just added some large geometric images in the background there, and then my snakes and stuff on top. So pretty simple, but they're pretty cool. Those would also look nice on longer nails. I guess I don't like the short nails. This was a set that I think I did a smush on this. I want to say the background is a decal of some kind. I really don't remember. They came out a little messier than I would have liked, but the idea is there. I've got this little 3D element right there. I don't know. Yeah, they're okay. Nothing special, I suppose. This one I did using a plate that the Mermaid Polish came out with Maniology, and she did sort of like a spooky mermaid underwater plate. It's really unique. So I did these on the short nails just to kind of showcase the plate, and I was really impressed with the pickup, especially the text. Like sometimes I have such a problem with picking up that tiny little text, and so you can read it perfectly. So yeah, super tiny, but a good pickup. And yeah, I don't know, it just looks nice. I like the color palette on this one a lot. And there's some good reverse stamping, I think. Just some little vague shading. This is the same plate from the Mermaid Polish, but I went a little bigger and went a little harder on the reverse stamping for my mermaids here. So I used the same colors for all of them, but I just mixed around where I was putting those colors. These are like so dumb, and for some reason I just can't like let them go. I wanted to add different things to them, different elements to them, but I don't know. I mean, they just look fine the way they are. They're nothing special. It's just a base and the stamp on top. I don't know, man. I don't know. They're not good, but I like them anyway. And I always think, oh, I should just add like some little, you know, something on there, but I can never think of what. I don't know why I like these. I don't know why, but I do. They're in the book. Sorry. This was from this like ghoulish garden plate that Maniology came out with, and this was one of the first times I started kind of messing around with like shading, I think. It was kind of early shading days. Yeah, I posted this one on Instagram, and Maniology commented, "Your garden's looking a little dead." That made me laugh. And then I was kind of rolling along with the ghoulish garden thing. This is a different plate that they have with some carnivorous plants. And I wanted to do like a Halloween thing. So I have these bats in the background. And I think this is from 3 different plates, or maybe just 2. But Halloween plates plus the carnivorous plants plate. And it was kind of like a Seymour, you know, feed me Seymour kind of manicure. These I did like a little reel for, like a short video. I don't know, maybe I'll post it here. It has music, so I don't think I can, but anyway, yeah, just using those plates again and just in kind of a random way. I think they look pretty cool though. These are kind of similar in the sense that it's just sort of different elements like layered up and placed sort of randomly. There's no story about this either, but I just thought it would look like a old textbook or something. Not a textbook, but like a manuscript, you know? So I was just sort of imagining that, and I think they turned out pretty cool. So it's really hard to see this, but there's like a little bicycle right there. I should go back and just stamp the bicycle in this dark color to see what this is, but there's a story about this one. And I lived in New Orleans for 3 years, and I worked as a pedicabber, which is where it's like a big bicycle taxi. So I worked the night shift in the French Quarter, pedicabbing for like 3 years. And yeah, it's pretty wild, pretty intense. If you've been to New Orleans, then you maybe have some idea of what it's like. If you've never been there, then you're never gonna know. You just gotta go. There's no place like New Orleans in the entire world, dude. It's just its own thing. So yeah, definitely go before it sinks into the Mississippi River, because it's only a matter of time as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, so pedicabbing is pretty rough job, pretty tough. You got to be a pretty tough person to do that job. And maybe it's better now, but at the time there were very few women doing this job, very few. And So, you know, you kind of just have to be this kind of person. And it was very, very damaging to me in so many ways. And when I was down there, I ended up moving in with this person who was very, very physically abusive toward me. Well, abusive in all ways. People are rarely just physically abusive, right? But anyway, it was a very bad situation for me. And like typical, you know, narcissistic abusive behavior, what they tend to do is go around and slander you with the things that they're doing. So if, you know, they're abusive, then they go around and they tell everybody that I'm abusive, right? If you've been through it, then you know, and I'm very sorry that you know. But once you know, once you see it, you can't unsee it. But you know, a lot of people I think are just very feeble-minded, and they go along with you know, just this manipulative behavior for whatever reason. And so basically every single person I knew just like spit in my face and turned their back on me, you know, because they thought I was this abusive person or whatever, which is just absurd. And but that's just how it goes. So I basically had like two people who were on my side throughout that whole thing, and it was really bad. It was really horrible. I was really at rock bottom. Nobody was helping me. Nobody. But at least I had a couple guys that were like not perpetuating the abuse. So one of these people, his name is Tony, and also, you know, I think everybody down there has kind of a rough time, but anyway, a kindred soul, I guess. I've always just felt very, like, sort of some connection with him. Not in a romantic way, but I don't know. It just felt like we'd known each other from a past life or something. But he decided to bicycle from New Orleans to California, which is something I would never do. I have hitchhiked from the East Coast to the West Coast a couple of times, and you know, but it never occurred to me to bicycle, my goodness. So he got on his bicycle, and we were really pretty worried about him. It seemed like a pretty nihilistic journey. And again, this isn't my story to tell, so I won't go into, you know, his reasons or what he went through, but I think it was quite a journey. So I thought that was very cool, and I, at the time, was 30, and I wanted to go out to California and redo a hitchhiking trip that I had done some years prior. I wanted to hitchhike back up the Pacific Coast Highway up to Big Sur. So I flew out to San Diego to meet him, that was where he was supposed to end up. So I got to San Diego and got to a hostel, and his bike had broken down irreparably in the desert, in the Sonoran Desert, and it was maybe like 4 hours away from San Diego. So I rented a car and drove out there and picked him up, and boy, I barely recognized him. It was wild. He was saying like, oh, no one would give him a ride or whatever, but when I got there, I sad to say I could see why. He looked pretty rough. So, but I thought that was just really badass. I was so proud of him, and we did hitchhike a little bit up to San Francisco, but we parted ways. We had a little bit of a different life philosophy during that time. I was sort of high and he was sort of low, and anyway, it was a great trip for me. I had a wonderful time, but I just wanted to kind of commemorate like his journey here, and that's just what this is. That's a long story, but that's what that is. This was a plate with like a mad scientist thing going on, but I saw the MST3K character Kinga from the newer MST3K on Netflix, those series, and I am obsessed with MST3K. I love it so much. It makes me laugh hysterically every time I've watched these movies, and I've watched them endlessly. I used to run home from school every day and try to catch it on TV. And, or I think it came on Saturdays too, and I would pull up the chair right in front of the TV and just laugh my butt off. But I'm a big fan. I go to all the live events that I can as well, so I've got some cool like signatures and stuff like that. So it's always a good time. I've got to meet all the characters pretty much, and yeah. So this is sort of like an MST3K Kinga Forrester manicure. I think these are pretty ugly, honestly, but like I don't know what possessed me to make them all gray. I think it was just because they're all really colorful, and I wanted to make them contrasting, but maybe like white would have been better. I don't know. But I did this double processing thing here, which is a little bit tricky, and so I thought, well, I'm pretty good at that. Let me immortalize these. But I don't know. They're okay. They're all right. This was for a GNC prompt. The prompt was dreams, but I went with nightmares, which are a type of dream. I used to have nightmares all the time. Like back when I lived in New Orleans, every single night I had nightmares, and that was just my reality from pretty much from being as a kid up until my 30s. I just only had nightmares, and it's not hard to imagine why. You know, my life was very tortured and difficult and chaotic, and go figure, I don't have those kind of dreams anymore. But anyway, I used like a gold paint pen for this, and I just colored it in afterwards, and that's those Tomy plates, and then maybe a couple other ones in there too. And then I just added this little dream jar in there. So whether they're coming out of or going into the jar is up to you. This was a birthday set for my friend whose name is Elka, and she really likes elephants. And this says "Be fearlessly authentic," which I think she's a very authentic person. I think is one of the most valuable qualities anyone can have, just to be yourself. So that's just what that is. This is a little Halloween set with my kind of like special layered abstract technique here, which I have at least one video on how to do that. And then I kind of like the idea of this being like Halloween candy foil, you know, like those little chocolates that come in the foil around Halloween time. I just wanted it to look like that, kind of. So I don't know, interesting color palette there. I like how they turned out. They're kind of like retro looking in a weird way. This was that Merry Creepmas plate from Maniology, and I think these turned out kind of messy. I'm not like super happy with them, I guess. I do like the reverse French plaid though. I think that looks pretty cool. I did that with an ombre. I didn't reverse stamp that or anything, so I just did like red, green, and then I scraped down for that, and it's probably double process. That was kind of what I was doing at the time. And then lastly, I have this Spooky Love set, and again, it's nothing super special, but they look nice because this is ombred up here. It's got this nice vignette, and then I matte coated this very like shimmery red polish, and I wish I remember what it was, but man, it gives it this beautiful deep velvety effect that is just really nice. So simple manicure, but they turn out really cool, just the colors there. So that was page 12. Not a lot of stories, I guess, except for that really long one. I hope you were entertained, and let me know which one's your fave, if you have a fave on this. This is my last kind of like amateurish page, and so the next one or two, which are going to be the last ones, are definitely getting into more advanced techniques, and you'll probably recognize some of them from my videos. But anyway, that's all for now, my friends. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and until next time, bye!